What is up, everybody? Welcome back. Another 515 Sports Podcast. Myself, Brock Beirman. Today we're hitting a little college football. I mean, specifically EA Sports college football is back 2025.
Let's go, baby.
I know people have been talking about this for a long time, waiting for this to come back. It's finally here. I think there's some interesting developments, some interesting things that could come and go with this game, but yeah, I mean, Brock specifically has been wanting this, I know, for a long time.
Is it finally time to sell my Xbox 360? Your boy still has an Xbox 360 for actually two sole purposes. We'll get into the other one later on in this episode, but one of them is college football from EA Sports. I still play this game probably on the regular. The amount of dynasties that I've created and sub dynasties in the same dynasty that I've created, because I found ways to like create multiple characters into one dynasty mode, where like once one team would like become too powerful, I'd just become an OC for that team, like create a new guy or something like that, and just see where I can take another program. No, huge fan of the college football series. It's one of the best sports franchises in video game history. I'd take it over Madden any day, which is another thing that I'm going to ask you about later on in this episode. But it hasn't been released since 2013. The last one was College Football 14. I don't even remember who was on the cover. I just know it was some guy from Michigan.
Yeah, the guy with the dreads.
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't know his name either.
But that game has probably gotten more hours played on any of my Xbox systems I've had, or any video game system I've ever had, just because of how fun it is, how replayable it is, the in-depth stuff that you have with recruiting and all that. But no, I'm excited that college football is finally coming back with their video game franchise with EA Sports.
I mean, if you're still rocking a 360, you are committed to the craft at that point.
Oh yeah.
There is no way around saying that. I mean, if you, like I said, you're still rocking an Xbox 360, you are committed to the craft. There's no way around that. But go ahead.
Over the years, like they never shut down the servers completely, and I think they did that intentionally. So over the years, people have been able to mod it. I never went with the full thing that's called College Football Revamp, where like it actually adjusts the graphics where it's the current ESPN football graphics, as well as I think the playoff is actually put into the game. Someone was able to mod it like that. I never got into that part, but like someone still updated the rosters. So like I have the updated rosters on my 360. And how accurate are the ratings? Well, the fact that ratings were never actually made because the game hasn't been out since 2013. Who knows? But like, no, like Iowa State on my Xbox has the updated uniforms and everything. So they got the blacks. I rock with those all blacks all the time on.
Yeah.
But no, this game, that comes back with the replayability. Whoever on EA was like, we're never going to actually officially shut down the servers on EA's College Football 14. Genius. Credit to you, because that has made a lot of people happy like me, so we could go back and replay that game over and over again.
Yeah, and over and over and over and over again. Good. Shout out Marshawn Lynch. Good quote right there. Yeah, I think one thing that's interesting to me about it is I saw you have to opt in if you're an athlete. I don't foresee anybody opting out, right? Like, I mean, I think you get $600 and you go in the game. So I don't see why you would opt out. Like, I don't foresee any reason why you would opt out. Especially because I think you get the game. Like, I think you get a copy of the game. And so then you can just be yourself in the game. Like, that's the ultimate incentive. I think people would be more interested if you had to get a game that they can be in than the $600. I don't think the $600 is as important to most of the people as it will be to be able to play themselves in the game.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing that I always remember is like, I feel like with this game, it's more about wanting to be in the game than it is about making the money. Yeah. Of course, the reason this game went away was because a former athlete wanted to make money off of this game because he was in a college basketball game. Of course, I'm referring to Ed O'Bannon, who played for UCLA when they used to do classic teams, and that's why the college football basketball game went away first. And now that they're getting $600 and a copy of the game, you had me at a copy of the game. They could have been like, actually, you owe us $600.
I think you might get people pay up.
Yeah, that's like I was like, I'll pay $600 to be in the game. Like, no, I don't care. Give me that. I'm super excited, man, dude. I like the last week and a half. I am Catholic, so Lent season's around, so I had to give up something, and I gave up video games. And then the next day, EA Sports drops the college football teaser, and I'm like, you cannot be serious, man. Your boy is struggling right now, not trying to get on that 360 and play some college football 14. But
You in the 360,
dude, I don't know if I'll ever get rid of it at this point. I still have.
Well, at this point, there's no reason.
I'm not even lying. Like, I can go grab it right now. I still have a PS2.
There's no point. I mean, you might as well keep it for the memes now. Like, imagine when it's NCAA college football 35 and you're like, hey, watch this, boys. Whip out like 14.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be awesome.
First of all, this graphic right here, shout out this social media crew called Bring Back NCAA. Follow them on Instagram. They have been basically the number one crew promoting the game or trying to bring back the game for the past couple years. They've promoted that college football revamp, and they're the ones that provide all the news updates that I get, really. Of course, verified accounts on Twitter and all that will help out. But no, this crew has been on top of it for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get them on the pod to hear what their thoughts are on this game or even what they want to see from this game. But I'm very excited, and that's what some of these graphics on here are courtesy of them. So shout out at Bring NCAA Back on Instagram. Follow them for sure.
Well, I think the important thing with that too, right? Like you said, they've been doing it for so long. Like, to have that be that committed to doing it and, finally seeing these things come to life for them, I think that's probably a big, okay, like, we made some change. We got it. We're going now. And now they have a platform. And I mean, I would recommend follow.
They need their own copy of the game. They should get a free copy of the game.
Facts.
Because without them, the push for this probably wouldn't have been as fast as it actually ended up being, because they're one of the greatest, the biggest communities when it comes to college football and EA Sports. So without them, it probably wouldn't be coming back this year. It probably would still have come back at some point, but it probably wouldn't have been as quickly and as pushed as much as it's being pushed right now.
They're also mad active. Like, they post a lot, and they
are
reposting stories. Like, they are doing a pretty good job of making their presence known on the socials.
Yes, and I mean, these are just some of the screenshots from the little teaser that EA Sports dropped. And
I know bringing back mascot games.
Ooh, give me mascot.
That's what I'm saying.
Dude, give me that. Nothing better than like pulling up with the Stanford trees, man.
Yeah,
and just causing havoc on the football field. Some of these screenshots from the teaser just I cannot wait. I know at one point I think they were talking about like bringing certain audio, like actual true like traditions and audio from current teams into the game. I think every team submitted like their traditions and like what kind of audio they use. I don't know how or if that's going to actually happen when it comes to like rights and everything. But imagine like Virginia Tech, like before every game, Enter Sandman gets cranked out. Like, I don't know what to expect for this game specifically. When it comes to, it's the first game that they're releasing since 2013, and but either way, I'm super excited.
Yeah, I think I saw they got Kevin Connors in there on the audio too at some point, which massive W. Kevin Connors is a GOAT. Like,
it looks like they got Kurt Herbstreit. A bunch of guys from ESPN just confirmed today that they're in the game. Which today is a big day for this game because we showed that graphic with the what was it, the $600 and a copy of the game. They are currently, I think the contracts went out today for that. But another thing that I've seen a lot of And I'm sure a lot of other people have seen. So FCS schools have started posting stuff about it. Again, credit to bring back NCAA football, bring NCAA back. Sorry, for this graphic, but FCS schools have posted it, but there's no sign that they're going to be in this game. I don't know what that means specifically. I wonder if it's going to be like a post like release like DLC kind of thing where
Right.
you could, if you want, you can download the FCS schools, or maybe next there it's hinting at next year they're going to be in the game. Because how cool would it be if you could start out in like Montana as an OC
Right.
or a DC,
Yeah.
work your way up as a head coach there, and then like because I will admit the one thing that did get a little boring with the current game, and of course, when you play it for 11 years, something repeats. It's hard to not get through the whole game and not get a little bored every once in a while. But like, you could start as an OC or DC, but like, it's only the FBS level, or you
Right.
can be a head coach right away, but it's only at the FBS level. It'd be so cool if they had the FCS level and you can go through the playoffs and everything, or you can go walk into Alabama Stadium week 2 of the season and see if you can crank out an upset victory. Be the App State
Yeah.
before App State went to the FBS. But as of right now, it doesn't look like they're going to be there at launch date, according to this graphic. Again, credit to bring NCAA back. But I would love to see the FCS schools in here.
Yeah, I think I mean, with every new game or new challenge, whatever it may be, there's always going to be things that you have issues with, FCS being one of them. I'm also interested to see what they do with the walk-ons. Like, are you in the game? I know you're not on scholarship, so I don't know how that works. Like, I would be interested to see how that works out. I think, but like I said, there's always going to be questions of certain things, whether that's walk-ons, like you said, FCS. There's always going to be those
Oh
questions
yeah,
about it. So I'm interested to see how they kind of resolve those and what ways they go around um, making that work.
I'm interested to see what the roster situation is for teams that have players that do not sign that contract that are on scholarship.
Right.
Because I think they said that they would just find an average rating for like most players or whatever that
Yeah.
decline for that and just put them in the game without using their name, image, and likeness. I'm not sure how that will do when it comes to the quality of the actual team rating, because
Yeah.
like if a couple Alabama players decline, that can drastically change the rating of the player, and you can't
Yeah.
necessarily rate them exactly the way you want to, because again, that's against name, image, and likeness.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm interested to see. The walk-on situation is going to be something to keep an eye on, because there's teams. Iowa State had a couple of them where players aren't on scholarships, and they were key to their success last
Yeah.
season. Of course, some of them may get put on the scholarship. Yeah, but like, what happens then? Like, what
Right.
happens to the players
Right.
that won't get put on scholarship? Because from now until kickoff, we'll see teams posting things on so and so is now on scholarship or whatever, and
Yeah.
like, how do they get added to the game, or do they get added to the game, whatever it may be? But that's something to keep on an eye on for sure.
Well, I think that's what a lot of people fail to realize at times is like there's so many things going on behind the scenes that you have no idea what's happening, which is why it's, oh, this is being released. There's gonna be problems. Like there's just gonna be. But how do you combat those and where do you come at those problems from? Right. Like if somebody gets put on scholarship, do you just instantly like I think it's an app that you have to go and like basically check in, like, oh, I opt into this game if you're a
Yep.
player. So do you just instantly throw them in that app and then it's like, oh, you can be in? Well, why couldn't you be in before? Because I know there's dudes that are walk-ons that can still make and I have NIL deals. Like
Mhm.
there's just, but are you in the game? Like there's so many things that you don't know. But at the end of the day, the game's back, and I think that's what a lot of people are worried about.
Yeah, and, were you a big college football guy? I know you're a 2K guy, but were you a
Yeah, I
big
mean, I played it a little bit, but I honestly don't even think I had 14 though. Like I played it a little bit, but it was more of like I'm not a super huge gamer. I was like, you're a
yeah.
way bigger gamer than me, but um,
See,
yeah,
depending on the group of people that you talk to, I'm actually a gamer or I'm not, because all I play is realistic sports games, and, like, good lord, the amount of, like, simulations because I don't even play the games at this point. I just do the like building rosters and like
Yeah.
coordinating like franchises and stuff like that. I'll never forget when everything shut down in 2020. I was like, I'm gonna go hardcore on a Charlotte Hornets rebuild and like turn that franchise into an absolute powerhouse. And like no, like for me, I'm excited for the dynasty mode. I'm also interested in the Road to Glory because that's obviously another popular mode. What are your thoughts on what do you want to see from the side of recruiting? Because recruiting has changed drastically since the last game.
I would be interested. I'm also okay. Side thought here. I'm also interested to see how they do NIL in the game. Like, let's say you are at Ohio or whatever, and you got the starting quarterback and he's balling out, and then it's like, oh, he goes to Notre Dame, right? It's like, oh, here's NIL. Like, you just have to find somebody new. Like, I'm interested to see how they put that in there, aspect wise for the game. Like, will people leave? How do they leave? Can you start dishing out NIL money? Yeah, shout out Dawson. I think I agree with that take, to be honest. I actually think I agree with that take.
NCAA football is the GOAT when it comes to sports video games. I agree.
I think I agree with that take. But like, will you be able to will you be able to throw NIL money? Let's say you make it to like an Alabama, or is part of your thing you have to gauge NIL? Like, is that part of your thing, or is it just you can just take that's what I'm interested to see. Yeah.
And like when it comes to like the dynasty side of it, like how do teams that like are already small or have a small market of NIL, how do you build that, or how does it grow? Because like you got to be, in my personal opinion, you got to be realistic with it. So like the smaller schools have to have smaller NIL unless they already have pretty good. So like MAC team, if a MAC team already has a good collective because of certain alumni or whatever, then they have to have a high cash flow for NIL. And then vice versa. If they don't, they don't. But how can they find a way to make it to where you can find a way to build that? Because it'd make the game almost impossible if you can't win without NIL, and you can't grow it with your program if you want to like build a Northern Illinois or whatever from the ground up. I'm also interested from the Road to Glory side of things. Like when you're getting recruited, if like you get like, it won't be NIL, but like it'd be like skill points or something like that. Like we'll give you a certain bonus for coming to play for us or whatever. How that would work out. The NIL stuff is so interesting when it comes to this because it's so new when it comes to the legal terms because it is legally okay now. Back then, not so much. But at the same time, it's important because it's a huge aspect. Like imagine you're out here and it says like 99% this guy is going to go to your team, and then the next week it's like, oh, he commits to Alabama, and you don't get to know why though, because because they don't release the NIL stuff, and maybe that's something they do with like player characteristics or something like that, where it's like, oh, this player is more worried about his brand and NIL versus who he's playing for or whatever. Or like, what is it going to be like after they sign with you? You probably have to find a way to maintain their relationships so they don't transfer out. I'm so interested to see how the NIL and money aspect comes into the dynasty mode, even Road to Glory. Dude, can this game come out now? I'm so excited.
I honestly hope they make it super realistic. Like I'm sure they will try their best, but I think too an interesting aspect of it could be that if you make it really realistic, where you are legitimately losing guys because you can't pay them enough or whatever, maybe people will honestly realize how tough that job has become now in college football. Like, and it's like, oh, instead of hating on people all the time, it's like, oh, this is really tough. And I don't, obviously you'll never have you'll never be able to replicate it exactly. But I think you could give some insight to what coaches, what universities, what staffs deal with when it comes to NIL and people taking their recruits, taking their players because they just have more money. And then maybe I know a lot of people get up in arms about, oh, we have money, we're just not paying this guy, or what are we doing? Blah blah blah. Maybe you get a different sense of it if you're playing this game. maybe that's something to think about too.
Oh, if it can be as realistic as possible. I really hope that this makes it actually more difficult to build a dynasty
Yeah,
because
agreed.
then the replayability will just improve. Because if
Agreed.
you're just winning, because let's be honest, everybody who's built a dynasty at some point is like, okay, I'm just winning every year. We've pretty
Yep.
much hit the peak. There is no valley
Yep.
after this. So
Yep.
the game is kind of over. So that's why like I would always restart from then.
Yep.
But now with this NIL thing and all the transfer portal and all that stuff and basically free agency, um, now it's harder to keep and maintain your roster and you
Right.
can't be guaranteed because like you could be only having this many scholarships for this year for
Yeah.
recruiting and then come off season all of a sudden you have all these open up because someone's leaving for NIL
Right.
purposes.
Right. And
Um,
I
this is
I
great.
think that's what's interesting, right? Because I think one of the knocks I always had on the older games, I just feel like you could get so good pretty quick. Like and like you said, it's not that the game's over at that point, but the challenge of it is
Yeah.
out, right? So it's kind of like then you're just kind of, "Ooh, this is fun. Like I'm just destroying everybody." And then that's fine. But if you could make it harder, then I think you might get more people interested in it and you might you might retain them for longer.
Oh yeah. And I mean, dude, what are your thoughts on this? So I was talking with a couple of my buddies about this after the teaser got released. Do you think Madden's in trouble?
Mm, first off, I've thought Madden's in trouble for a little while because they're okay, but like,
Because
is
I
any
know
there's people that buy Madden, right? There are obviously people that buy, but I feel like the people that buy Madden are not as high as they used to be.
one like I think there's a lot of people guilty that buy Madden as a substitute for not having college
Yeah.
football every year.
Yeah.
And now that
Yep.
college football is coming out, I really don't care about Madden that much. And me personally, there isn't anybody coming in as a rookie that I'm like, "Oh, I wanna play, Madden
Right.
so I can have that guy on my team." So I'm not as of right now, I'm not buying Madden once this game comes out, and I know some other people that probably won't ever buy Madden again once this game comes out.
I think you're probably right. I think there's gonna be more people like that than you would imagine, and I mean, I think we've both said it and agree. I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I really feel like college football is better than NFL
Oh, yeah.
in
Well,
general.
college sports is better than any
Right.
professional league.
I agree, and I don't know if that's a majority take, minority take, I'm not quite sure what that is, but if that's your take on it, you have no reason to buy multiple games. Like, you have no reason to have Madden and NCAA. So, will you just begin to pick? Like, I don't know, and that'll be like you said, that'll be an interesting thing, and I think, honestly, you make a good point of there's nobody that I would wanna be in Madden, right? That's an interesting point that I mean, we've seen that recently debated about basketball, right? Like, who's gonna be the face of the NBA when LeBron retired? Like, who's gonna do that, right? So there's also that aspect. Obviously, 2K is different, but the concept is still there in just normal NBA basketball. Who's gonna be the guy to take over the league after LeBron leaves, right? So that's gonna always be a changing topic, and I mean, if it's affecting everything, right? I mean, sports affects so many things. I think even like you said, it's affecting freaking NCAA
I
football.
I'm gonna I think this might be a wake-up call for Madden because from what I've been told, it's not supposed to be like Madden. It's not supposed to use the same engine. I could be wrong, and it could end up being exactly like Madden, which in that case, prepare for me to rant on a podcast and after this game comes out. Because yes, I buy Madden, but at the same time, it's trash, and I know it's going to be trash. But I need my fixing of a football
Right,
video game,
right.
and hopefully it's the eye opener if it is completely different and this is way better than Madden, that Madden needs to like revamp their whole game
Yeah,
and
yeah.
presentation and everything because it's been the same thing for 10 years. It's just a roster update, which again, I can't say anything because I bite the bullet on that and I always buy the roster update. But with college football coming out, I, along with others, I know for sure are not going to be buying Madden because college football is coming out.
I agree, and I think that's you make a good point of why would you just you said you do it. I'm sure other people do it. Lots of people do it, but it's essentially you're just mad and you're just buying a new roster every year. Like, that's all you're doing. Like, I could still
like a Game Pass.
Right, and I guess you can play online a little bit more, but, like, if I have Madden I think I have Madden, like, 22, 21 maybe, like, if I just wanna play, there's legitimately no difference from me playing it to you playing 24. Like, there's not a difference at all other than the team's different. Like, and that's, I think, like you said, where it could maybe open their eyes to be like, "Oh, we gotta do something a little different here."
I can't wait to see what happens. I wanna see the numbers between, college football and Madden when it comes out, because I do think there may be a dip, especially if
Yeah,
Madden doesn't come out with any, like, releases before the game where it's like, "Oh, we're doing this that's different than last year," or, "Oh, we're getting rid of this because you guys didn't like it." If they don't do anything, that makes it seem like, "Oh, they have completely changed what they were preparing to do, from previous years."
right.
No one's gonna buy the game.
Agreed. And you have like that's the world we live in, right? It's not even sports. It's anything. You have to be adapting to what's happening. And if you're not, and you really do feel like you have the monopoly like Madden does right now, and then you have a competitor come into the environment, I mean, then everything can change so quickly for you. So, like you said, I really think this might open their eyes and be like, oh, okay, we gotta change some things up.
For sure. And with the return of college football, begs the question, when are we getting college hoops
Yeah.
2K back?
I would I would okay, if you had to pick, which if you had to pick between college hoops, NCAA football, you could only take one.
What was
Once
the
the new ones come out,
is it EA's college hoops or is it college hoops 2K?
2K.
Okay, because that matters, because then
I
I'm
know,
going 2K.
I know.
No, I so again, when it comes to me being a nerd, when it comes to sports video games, I have a PlayStation 2 for college hoops. And so I also have 2K8 also on my Xbox 360. But still, this game is a lot. No, this game by far, in my opinion, College Hoops 2K8 is the greatest sports video game of all time.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'll give you
The
it's up there.
the replayability, the difficulty when it comes to recruiting, you can be a top 5 team in the country and you can't get a single 5-star recruit to commit to your team
Yeah.
because you need to actually pay attention to where they're located at,
Yeah.
who they want to play for, because they have like actual like skill sets and personalities to these
Right.
recruits that you're recruiting. 2K8 was generations ahead of everybody else when it comes to recruiting sports video games
Yeah.
and replayability. And I mean, like, can we bring back this Bird in the Blender logo? Come on, like this logo, this game, the presentation of this mode. Again, the graphics not the greatest, but it's 2007, 2008. So
Right,
like, I
right.
don't know what you said. By the way, for people that don't know, that's Craig Brackens.
Craig
But
Brackens was like the Iowa State GOAT for a while.
That was Craig Brackens, I think, his freshman year. Oh my gosh, the players on
Look
those
how
team are
grainy he is, dog.
yeah,
His
Rashawn
head
Clark and
his head looks like it's not even, proportional to himself.
but like this game was so fun. Like, look at the recruiting that you had to do because you did preseason summer recruiting. You had to go to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
empty gyms to recruit nobodies, but yet they somehow turned into 3 or 4-star recruits. And if you didn't pay attention to them early on, they're not going to want to come play for you.
Right.
Max knows this. I play a dynasty mode in 2K8 every year, and I restart at January
Yeah.
1st every
Yeah.
year. And I try to see how far I can go. And each year it feels like it gets harder and harder because like I'm running I only play for teams that will offer me a contract right away. And
Mhm.
I've done this so many times that I don't repeat teams. So the list of who's offering is getting smaller and smaller. So I got like 60 overall Northern Colorado offering me, and that's it. And all they're getting are like half a star recruits for the first 3 years. Um, but no, 2K8 was way ahead of its time. It is, in my opinion, the greatest college sports video game of all time. I mean, heck, they made newspapers for when you won the national championship. They had this whole trophy room. Like, you know how you in NCAA football 14, you would collect trophies or whatever,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
could look at the trophies. This actually had a trophy room with information behind everything. on the specific different trophies that you would end up getting. You could unlock classic teams. I think the Jamal Tinsley, Marcus Fizer, Iowa State teams were on here. Just the overall replayability of this game specifically. College Football 14 has replayability, but this one I have more fun playing. I would take College Football Hoops 2K. If it goes to EA, I will riot. I need College Hoops 2K to come back if we're going to have college football on EA Sports.
All I can think about is that Xbox 360 is probably humming, dude. That baby is probably purring. That boy's been through the blender. If you've been resetting every year, that's 16 years. That Xbox 360 is just.
I got it. I got that. So I got the 2K8 game around 2017. So it hasn't been 16 years for that, but at the same time, I've had college football since it came out. So I had college football for all these years, and now I have college hoops 2K8. And so, the Xbox 360, man, if college hoops ever comes out and I no longer need my 360, I don't think I'll ever get rid of it.
You might as well put it in a freaking display case. Or
that's what I'm saying. We're gonna have like in memory of my Xbox 360.
Have a retirement ceremony for that thing.
Have
a whole raise the banner. It's just thank you, Xbox 360.
Without the 360, man, I probably wouldn't have been able to get over these years of no college hoops or no college football. So we need the return of college hoops 2K8 because if it doesn't, the 360 is gonna have to keep going, I guess.
360's been doing you well so far. It sounds like so. You might be okay.
Do you know that there used to be a college baseball game?
Yeah, I think I did know that. I feel like that one I would have a hard time seeing coming back though.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. But like, I think it was only on PlayStation 2 and maybe the original Xbox, if not the 360. But like, imagine if like I wouldn't have to get NBA 2K, when I had to get Madden. I wouldn't get MLB The Show. I would just get college hoops games. Again, NBA 2K, I'm probably more loyal to than any sports franchise because they have been the one that has least amount of disappointment every year because I don't know. They find a way to keep me interested in the game. I think there was one year I didn't buy it. I think the reason was I just didn't want to spend the money on it. But like, outside of that, I've been loyal to 2K more than I have to EA.
I mean, at least you know where your loyalties lie.
So bring back College Hoops 2K8, man. 2K26. I want College Hoops 2K26. I want my boy freaking Trey King on the cover, Tamin Lipsey, all those guys. That would be funny if they did come out with that game. Who would be on the cover? Because right now, and actually we can segue this into a non-EA sports conversation. There is not a name in college hoops outside of the women's game that stands out.
Agree. You're better off if you're watching. I don't remember who I was telling this to. If you're watching for name, like, this person, you just watch the women's game. There is so many more names in the women's game than the men's game. Like so many more. It's not even close, really. There's Edie. Like, I don't know who's
even then. No one really cares about him,
right? And I think honestly, I think that's good for both for the women and the men. I think it's significantly better for both, to be honest.
Yeah, because like the men's side, it shows that there's a lot of parity. I mean, heck, UConn got destroyed by Creighton. And I said last weekend that UConn was my favorite to win. Hands down, there is nobody else. And so now that happened, there's just so much parity in the league. And it's kind of great not having that one guy because like everybody was like, Zion or Trae Young or even going farther back, Blake Griffin. Like those names, like everybody knew those guys. And those were the only games that were really focused on ESPN. Now other teams are getting promoted. And it's more about the team game than it is about the personal play. On the other side, when it comes to women's basketball, I feel like they need those names. Like right now, Caitlin Clark is doing something that no other female athlete has been able to do, and that's get people to talk about women's college basketball year round, not just during the tournament. Because we've had years, Breanna Stewart, who is still my GOAT, full disclosure, still my GOAT when it comes to college hoops. Breanna Stewart, they went on those runs the year of no losses.
Yeah.
4 player of the years, 4 national championships, all that stuff. Nobody was really talking about women's basketball as a whole.
Right.
Now we got Caitlin Clark, Cameron Brink over at Stanford, Juju Watkins.
I told you. I told you.
Who right now is on pace to break Caitlin Clark's record.
I told you before the season started. Before the season started, I told you I might take her over Caitlin. Actually, I said I would. I said I would take her over Caitlin. Now, like right now, I don't know because Caitlin's senior, fresh, but I think by the end, I think by the end, I might be like, yep, Juju. But I mean, you're right. I think there's a lot of names in the women's game specifically that stick out a little bit more. But there always have been. I think, like you said, Caitlin now just has given it so much more notoriety and everything. I mean, you think back in the day, like think about Candace Parker back in the day, dude. She was dunking, like she was going crazy. Brittany Griner, even like there was people just going absolutely crazy in the women's game. Kelsey Plum, Anescu, like so many people that were doing insane things, but just weren't really getting as much notoriety as they do now. And whether you like that or not, that's just kind of the fact of the matter now is that because the women have more names right now, I think they have more notoriety on specifically like getting games on Fox, doing things of that nature. Because at the end of the day, it is about viewership and, Caitlin brings in a lot of viewers. So, and I think Juju coming to the Big Ten is going to help a lot because he'll play earlier games and you won't have to be on stupid Pac-12 network. Like you'll be able to see her more. And I get she went 6 for 32 the other night, but they still won. So, take you and you're a freshman too, right? You got to take your lumps where you get them. But I don't know that USC squad. And dude, I'm like it on USC. They have that great recruiting class coming in next year on the women's side. Like, dude, Gottlieb's billing is something out there. I'll tell you that much.
If I had to put money though on a future for next year, just the amount of people they have returning, if they can stay healthy, UConn might be back.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they also have like so many people hurt right now. So
that's what I'm saying. They would be a top 5 team right now if they weren't all hurt.
I think there are 5 people that are hurt would probably be ranked in the top 25 if they just had those 5 be a team. Like it's crazy how many people they have hurt.
Like, and are all 5 of them out for the year or
yeah.
I think most of them, if not all of them are, which is really unfortunate because right now they're playing good basketball. Paige Beckers is starting to be Paige Beckers that we have been kind of expecting her to be, which of course injuries have been the reason that she's been down. But no, this year is a great year for college women's basketball. Next year, okay, and I get some people are gonna be like, well, Caitlin might not be there next year. Next year might be the biggest year because she's gone.
Yeah.
And it will be who's next. And not necessarily just one person is going to be up for contention of who's next when it comes to the face of women's college basketball.
I also think it's interesting, like, shout out Overtime. First off, Overtime's launching a new women's basketball, basically how they have, all those teams that they have normally down in Atlanta playing, like they're doing a women's version of it. So one, you're going to get so many more viewers that way. And the girls they have going down there can freaking hoop. Like you'll just be able to get more eyes on them. And I think that's always been the thing, right? You just have to get eyes on the people because once you realize that people they can hoop, they maybe can't dunk, but at the end of the day, they can hoop. And that's all you got to realize. I think people are finally realizing that. And it just makes it so much better for both sides. Like, you're not taking away anything from the men's game. The men's game's not taking anything away from the women's game. And they're the same game, but so different. Like they're so different in how you succeed and how you, do things well. you have to be able to distinguish they're both different. And I think that goes back to we've talked about it before of why volleyball, I think, does so well, because it's a completely different sport. Like, you're never comparing it against something else. It's just, this is what it is. Whereas basketball, it's easy to look on the other side and say, oh, the men are doing this. Oh, the women are doing this. But once you get that out of your head, which I think people have finally started to be able to do, it helps a lot. And I mean, I'm interested to see. I hope next year at the skills challenge, I hope it's like you run a team at the NBA All-Star that is like Ionescu, Caitlin, Kelsey Plum, and just see what happens. Just honestly see what happens.
Do you think Clark's gone?
Yeah.
Okay. I think so too. I think it's better if she,
no reason. Why would she stay?
The thing that really hurts like my brain, and maybe it's because I just don't understand the whole NIL stuff that she's getting right now. But like, NIL is basically all sponsorships and
yeah, it's just gonna go with her. I don't understand the argument either.
She's gonna actually make more money by going to the WNBA, because she's gonna actually have a contract by the team that she's playing.
Yeah. I don't get that's an argument I think that people just make because they want her to stay. Like, she's freaking State Farm, Hy-Vee. Like, they're not gonna say nope, not anymore. They're actually probably be like, yeah, here's more, because she's gonna do things. She'll be
a national brand.
Yeah, and think about
right now, like, she's a local person. I know nationally she has the brand name, but like, actually leaving the state, I feel like is going to only help her brand grow even more.
Agree. And
that's honestly, Iowa.
It's a great year for her to go because the Fever have the first pick, and Indiana, like, they love their hoops. So it would be a great year for her to go to the Fever.
And Aaliyah, man.
Yeah, it'd be a great year for her to be at the Fever. And I think too, man, like, she's gonna have her own shoe. Like, she's gonna do all of that stuff. Ionescu has her own shoe. Like, that she's gonna do that. And when it's just a matter of when, right? So I don't think you can have your own shoe in college. Maybe you can.
That's what I was gonna say. Is like,
I don't know.
If she was able to have her own shoe, and Nike was just like, nah, they dropped the ball. That they would have made so much money off of Iowa fans and girls around the entire country, and shoe people, because shoe people will just buy it just because it is a rare commodity of having a female athlete getting their own signature shoe, let alone in college. So yeah, I think she should go. And honestly, the Indiana Fever, yeah, they may be down, but like, her and Aaliyah Boston on the same team.
Right. Well, in theory, I would say, like, she will probably struggle in the W for like the first year, half year, maybe. Like, just watching so much W last year, being in Chicago and stuff, like, it is a different game. It is just a different game. So, like, how are you able to adapt? And she wasn't some world beater her freshman year at Iowa, but she was a good player. But she was just a good player. But now, I mean, she's out of this world. So I think it will be hard for her to be like an absolute stud right away. With hopefully the Fever. I honestly hope she goes to the Fever, but
she's a great fit.
I have no doubt that she will be what she is now. Give it maybe even just a half a year. Like, just give her some time.
Well, like, a lot of the players that have went to the W have struggled early on. Like, Brittany Griner wasn't necessarily a world beater right away.
Right.
Candace Parker is an outlier because she won the MVP her rookie year.
Right.
And again, that just shows how good Candace Parker is. And when I said that Stewie is my GOAT, Candace Parker is right up there as well.
Candace Parker, like, you could argue, was maybe the most slept on,
because
like, college player maybe ever.
Because she did things with the Tennessee team that Stewie wasn't able to do, because Stewie had all these All-Americans with her.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Stewie played with, like, Maya Moore.
Yeah.
I think they're around the same time. Maybe not the exact, but, like, close.
But, like, Candace Parker, I don't remember for sure, but I think I saw a tweet a week or two ago that said that she had maybe one, if not no other All-Americans with her when she won national championships with Tennessee. And she was injured for one of them. So, I mean, no, Candace Parker is up there as well. I mean, then you also have the players that have made a name for themselves in the W,
right?
Even though they had names outside of the W as well. It's just that it just even further elevated it. With Tarasi, Deladon,
Yeah.
I mean, all Bird, all these
Mhm.
people have made their name off the W, and it'll be interesting to see if Clark can do that again. And for the people that are gonna, if they attack us for whatever, and you never said whether or not she's your goat or whatever, but like she's not, I'm not saying she's not an all-time great. I compare her more to Steph Curry than I compare her to Jordan.
Caitlin?
Yes.
I was just gonna ask, how about Jay Will saying she's
Okay, the
not
championship thing, the championship thing, I don't want to say I don't agree, but at the same time I do.
It helps your legacy. This is my take. It helps your legacy, but when your legacy's already so great, it can't
Yes.
hurt it, right?
Yes.
If she wins a championship, it will help. But her not winning a championship won't hurt it because her legacy is already so great.
And maybe that's what's holding me back is because she doesn't have that championship. Like right now, it's probably my top three would be her at 3, Candace Parker, and then Stewie.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a tie between Stewie and Candace Parker. However, if Clark wins the championship this year, especially with this team, like no offense to the University of Iowa, but this is not the best Caitlin Clark team that we've seen. Like the last year's team would kill this year's team. I will
Yeah, I
be on
agree.
record saying that. But if she wins a championship with this team, she jumps to 1 because I feel like this championship run would be more impressive than any of Brianna Stewart's or Candace Parker's.
Yeah, I think especially if she's like backpacked them like 40, 40, 30,
Like
40.
And so that's why I say I don't completely disagree with what Jay Will said. At the same time, he made it really harsh, saying like the championship's the only way. I think she could make a championship game and put up 50 and lose, and still people would put her up at number 1. It's so difficult because, and that's why that's why it's hard to like compare players and compare different eras and compare teams because certain players played with better teammates, and that's just how it is. They can't do anything about that. Like Brianna Stewart, the argument for, well, Brianna Stewart played with all these All-Americans. That's not her fault.
Right.
Sorry that she
we want her team to be worse.
Yeah. Like
it's a bad argument. I agree.
And like, no, I don't get that argument of, well, Brianna Stewart played with better players, or oh, Caitlin Clark's not had as talented of teams and she doesn't play for UConn, which I get the argument for, oh, she plays for UConn because UConn's a name brand. But I just feel like a championship would cement herself as the GOAT. As of right now, I can't put her there.
Yeah, I think a championship helps her legacy. It doesn't hurt, like I said, it doesn't hurt it, but I don't think she's at a point where it's gonna diminish her legacy, right?
Yes.
Especially in college when you're not defined by championships, right? NBA, W, like a lot of times you are defined by championships. Like, but even then, right? I'm not saying Charles Barkley isn't good. Like Charles Barkley's a good player. He never won a championship, right?
He's one of the most underappreciated players of all time.
Right. So if you're really just basing it off championships, then you already would
Bill
know,
Russell, baby.
You would already know who the GOAT is, right? Or even NFL, right? Like, oh, Tom Brady. What if I think he is the GOAT, but what if somebody I mean, James Jones on the Heat has like so many. He has like 3 or 4 rings.
Robert Horry.
Right. It's like you're not saying, oh, this guy's the best ever. But
doesn't Robert Horry have like the third most, second most,
I think something like
of
that.
all time or something?
I think something like that.
And he was a role player.
Right. So you're not, if that's your argument, I would rather have the guy that whoever leads me, whoever is breaking records, whoever's doing all that stuff, I would be more tempted to be, oh, this person can hoop. This person's very good. This person could be a GOAT, rather than, oh, this guy or girl has 3 rings. It's like, okay, what did you do to earn those? Right. So I don't know. I think that's always an interesting argument that you can get into. And it's just, those are the ones that get a lot of views. Right. So, this is this.
Since you mentioned Tom Brady, where do you put Mahomes at right now?
He ain't the GOAT, but
no. Where is he?
Top
like 3?
Like quarterbacks or like
quarterbacks? Top 3? He's
probably 3 to 5 range, probably.
Okay, because I think I put him at. I can't remember what I said last week on the pod. I think I either said 3 or 2. I think I jumped the gun.
I think
but
3 to 5. Speaking of the pod, shout out the boys on the hardwood. That was a good episode.
Oh yeah. Do you like Hunter's thing on?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Damian Lillard.
That was awesome. I was listening. This is one thing I was going to ask you. I can't ever figure out why. Like, I know maybe I'm kind of annoying at times about the Heat, but like, why does everybody really dislike the Heat? I can never figure this. Like,
okay,
or the fan, like I'm kind of on the inside, right? So like, I like the Heat, so maybe I don't see the bigger picture, right? Like maybe that's how people feel about I don't know, like I don't know, like maybe the Celtics or like the Cowboys or whoever it is, right? The bigger names. You're kind of on the inside if you're a fan, so you don't really, maybe you don't see the outside. I can never see, like, I really can't ever see the outside. I don't know why people hate on the Heat so much. I really don't.
Okay. When I started watching the Celtics, who was on the Heat?
Oh, okay. Fair.
And you know who I hate the most. So that already added to the flame. And
okay, but like now he's not there.
But it's just the fact that we play each other so many times.
Celtics, I get. Celtics.
The last couple years, Kyle Lowry really made me hate you guys. Like really made me hate you guys. And
that's like Derek White for me.
That's what I'm saying. It's the role players. Yeah. Jimmy gets on my nerves, but it's one of those things where it's like I hate because he's not on my team. If he was on my team, I'd freaking enjoy it. It's like Marcus Smart for me when he was playing for the Celtics. Not many people liked playing against Marcus Smart. I freaking loved having him on my team because he was an a-hole to players.
Right.
But no, for me, it's solely because of the amount of times that we've played each other in postseason and the amount of times that certain players have stepped up. Like you mentioned, Derek White having legacy games against you. Max Strus.
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
Fair. God, why am I forgetting? Duncan Robinson, Caleb Martin, all these guys that would have legacy. Kevin Love looked like his old self a couple times last year.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Okay.
No, it's just that stuff. And no, the Celtics and Heat have probably the biggest Eastern Conference rivalry right now.
I agree. The Celtics, I get. I honestly, the Celtics one I can.
I don't know what their issue is with the Heat.
And I'm not saying just them. I just think in general, like. I don't know. Because I don't see
your guys' self with a culture that doesn't help either.
Yeah.
When you say Heat culture.
Yeah, I could see that. I just can't ever see past it. And maybe that's just because I'm in it, right? I just can't ever see outside of it. But I'm in the eye of the hurricane, so I don't see outside of it. But like, I can never figure out, like, playoffs. I get because, like, if we were playing the Sixers, first off, I really dislike the Sixers, but. If we were playing the freaking Hornets, I would probably not like the Hornets for a little while, right? Like, I don't know. I can't figure out why. I think the Heat get a lot of targeted meme material almost. Like,
doesn't help that your guy dresses up as an emo for photo day.
Yeah, that's fair. I think some of it's asked too. I do think some of it's asked for.
But so okay. My reasoning behind hating the Miami Heat, and this is my personal one. So this is me being a Celtics fan, LeBron being on that team, and LeBron and Paul Pierce really never liking each other. Paul Pierce absolutely hates LeBron. Exactly. You hate Paul Pierce the same way I hate LeBron. After that happened, then we got the new generation of Miami and Boston Celtics players because we both dipped for a little bit. And honestly, for the better, because I think that both franchises right now are in great spots. The bubble was literally the only thing of sports that was going on at the time. So I wanted to win, like just like as much as you wanted to win. I don't care what people say, that championship matters as much as that
one matters.
So that added to it because that team was supposed to be really, really good for the Celtics and just for the Heat to win in the ways that they won.
Right.
Really Tatum going in on Bam and he absolutely gets stuffed.
Hero having like a random 36-point game out of nowhere.
All the Celtics do against the Heat are either blow leads because they do and find ways to lose in the clutch, like heartbreakers. Like or get hurt 30 seconds into game 7.
Right.
No. So, as a tiers, when it comes to teams I hate the most, Lakers are number one for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
and right now it's never been higher than that number. Like usually it's like 1, 2 is kind of close. Right now it's Lakers, everybody else.
Right.
Because I can't stand who's on their roster right now. But then it would be 76ers because I hate Philadelphia sports more than anything.
76ers
will be Philadelphia is my least favorite town when it comes to sports because of their fans. But at the same time, I can't hate them because they're one of the most passionate cities when it comes to their teams. Well, I hate them as the standpoint that my teams play them all the time.
Right, and I think it's interesting. Like, I don't really have anything against the Eagles. Like, I wouldn't say I like the Eagles.
I won't cheer for them, no.
But I don't really care. I don't care about them that much. Whereas it's like the Sixers, I just don't like.
I hate the Sixers. I hate if Joel Embiid got out of Philadelphia, I actually would like the guy. I do not want him to have any success because I do not like Philadelphia whatsoever. Especially because they took Al Horford from us in a year that he probably could have been in Boston doing because Al Horford if you haven't noticed, since he came to Boston figured out how to use Al Horford to their advantage. No one else knows how to use Al Horford.
Yeah, remember when he's on the Thunder?
It just didn't make any sense. They were paying him all that money just to sit on the bench.
Do nothing.
And the Celtics could have used him. But no, LeBron being on the Heat, and then all of the tight games, the fact that we play each other all the years in the playoffs. So for me, it's obvious being a Celtics fan. Other people, I think it's the whole fact that you guys have deemed yourself a Heat culture.
Yeah, I could see that. So, I also guess maybe like having LeBron, having that whole team talking so much, not winning as much as you maybe could have.
It's like
then just like having continued success, maybe like with not necessarily the best guys. I could maybe see that being annoying. I was just wondering that because I was listening to you guys talk about that and everybody was kind of dogging on the Heat, and I know. I was just wondering why. Like,
I think you guys made one of the best moves before the trade deadline, though.
And I mean, maybe it's valid getting dogged on by some people about the Heat being bad or whatever, like, or not liking them. I just can't ever figure out. And I think maybe sometimes it gets to be in the culture. Like, honestly, I don't really like the Bucks that much, but I don't hate them. But if I was playing them in the playoffs, like, I would be talking to Hunter. Like, I would be letting him know. But I think that's just part of how it is, right?
The one thing I do hate, though, is, like, I've always hated the Heat, and now everybody's now getting on this bandwagon of hating the Heat, and I'm like, nah, dude, I'm a Celtics fan. Y'all hate me year round.
What I'm saying. Like,
I want to be. This is my thing. I get to hate the Heat. Y'all don't get to hate the Heat.
Exactly. And I was like, I haven't felt like the Celtics getting wide hate. Agree. Like, I can see why. Lakers.
Oh yeah,
I can see why. I didn't think the Heat had elevated into that.
It was that big three.
I don't know if they have or not. I don't know if they have or not. I can't tell. But like, there's brands where it's like Cowboys, Lakers, Celtics.
I think the Heat are up there. Personally,
Yankees,
I do.
Maybe, right? Okay. That was
when it comes to this generation's NBA, because let's be honest, people from the 90s aren't watching the NBA anymore. This generation's NBA fans are Miami's up there because they won in 06 with Shaq. So they've won with Shaq. They've won with LeBron. They've lost with LeBron. They've made it to the playoffs when they probably shouldn't. They've made it to the finals. No offense, when they probably shouldn't.
Right. No, I agree.
Last year. So, no, it's the Heat culture is close. The closest thing to the NBA calling themselves a team calling themselves America's team, but they're not.
Okay.
They're not Dallas level when it comes to hatred yet. If they start winning championships again, then we might get there.
All right, I could see that. I was just curious because I was listening to you guys talk about that. I was just interested because I feel like you have the wide variety: Cowboys, Lakers, Celtics, Yankees, of people that are just like, you either like this team or you despise this team. I just feel like nowadays maybe there's less people mediocre on the Heat, and like I said, maybe I'm just too in the middle of it. I can't tell, but I wanted to get your opinion on that.
See, for me, it's the Jimmy Butler calling a timeout.
I kind of, when I asked that, I kind of was like,
you're
all
based off of my experience.
I'd like to ask that to like Dawson, Hunter, Chase.
I don't think Dawson actually hates them.
Well, that's why I'd be interested to see what he thinks. Like, Hunter, I know has his reasons why, because Bucks. Like, I get that. Dawson, I don't. He's Cavs fan? Cavs guy?
Maybe because he took LeBron. Well, but like I will say he was a Heat fan when LeBron was there.
All right, so I don't know. I'd be
I
interested to
don't think
hear
he really does.
what they think on that.
No, I'm trying to remember what I was going to say though about the Heat. Oh no, like the Heat. No offense, and it's because of how we match up, and that's another thing. Is because we match up so well together that we don't know who's going to win.
Yeah.
I hope you guys lose quickly because like I don't want to play you guys in the playoffs because it literally goes Game 7 almost every time.
I do think I think we're a little down this year in comparison to past years where like I get that we had like Strus, Gabe.
I hope you guys. I hope you guys are the 7th seed, dude.
I
do not
really
want to play
think
you.
we're a
I
little
do
bit
not want to
down
play
this
you in the
year.
first round because I am, unless something absolutely terrible happens. Trying to find wood to knock on. But the Celtics will be the 1 seed.
Yeah.
If you guys are the 8 seed, I'm not gonna be happy, dude.
Okay, so I really feel like this early. I mean, this is obviously basketball. You guys could talk about this, but I really think Celtics probably get us. Bucks probably get us. Sixers probably get us. Everybody else, I think it'd be kind of close. Like Knicks probably get us. Like I think there's teams that probably get us this year. Knicks, I think we could hang with. Bucks, I really think would probably get us.
Hey, Dawson took the Heat to go to the finals, I think.
Oh boy, I don't like last year. Honestly, I was a little down on us last year, but
this was this week, by the way.
Right. Last year, like I could see the guys last year, right? It's like you can kind of see the team.
I see it more this year.
Really,
I see it more. Dude. Y'all forget.
I'm in on Terry.
About Scary Terry, who is 5th. We did this on the podcast on Hardwood Convos. If you haven't seen this episode, go look at it. Terry Rozier is 5th all time in Charlotte Hornets points.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even there for a decade. Y'all are forgetting about Scary Terry, and then even playoff time. Because, you know, he showed up and Jimmy Butler was like, hey, we don't – it's not playoffs yet. As long as we get to play in, we're good.
Right. I think Jimmy's back this week. But I was just curious on your thoughts on that, just because I feel like –
it's hard to ask me because of the
I kind of
spaced
that when I asked you, to be honest. I'd be interested to hear what like Hunter has to say or Dawson.
It's like asking me why do I hate the Kansas Jayhawks? Like why do I hate the Seattle Seahawks? Or why do you hate the 49ers?
Right, exactly. Right. That's what I'm saying. So it'd be interested to hear. I guess the question would be, do you think they have elevated to that level of where it's like just Lakers? Not skill wise, not history wise, but just hate wise, which I honestly don't know now that I think about it. I think
they're more on the Warriors level because the Warriors right now, like
I think if the Heat were bad, I really don't think people would care too much. Like I don't think they'd be getting memed that much.
Nope. Like if the Lakers and Celtics were bad, so I guess I agree. They're not on the level of Lakers or Celtics. The Bulls were. The Bulls are not anymore.
Right.
So
no. Yeah. Well, I don't know. You got anything else? I don't really got anything else. So
2K, please contact the NCAA and get College Hoops 2K8 back.
I guess baseball starts today, so shout out Bobby Witt and the Royals. Is it absolutely horrible?
Is it spring league or is it actual
spring training? I think starts today, so I think
I can't wait to not watch until October.
Baseball's back. Want to watch the Royals and Brady Singer throw the ball on the mound. A good team out there. So good team down there in Kansas City. Shout out whoever decides to cheer for those guys. Can't even believe that you would put yourself through that for a whole year. But I think that's all I got. You got anything?
I just love that baseball talk is actually happening, and I'm like, talk to me when it's October.
Maybe we should get friend of the program Peyton Culp on here sometime just to hear his thoughts on the Royals, just to hear the thoughts of the Royals.
Maybe we need to get you and him to do a pod. Like you two do a baseball podcast.
I don't know if I can handle that because there'd be no baseball talked about. It'd just be Royals suck and Bobby Witt's so bad. Jordan Walker's bad. Salvador Perez, he's way better than Yachty. That'd be it for like 45 minutes.
It'll be the 515 Podcast Network presents Max Olsan, Peyton Culp, also known as P-Dad, and the show's called Nothing But Ball.
You'd have to. It would have to be the ultimate. You would have to be Molly on First Take, and it would just be me and P Dad just going at just going at it about like stupid Royal stuff. I hate the Royals so much.
I have a buddy that is wanting to do a baseball podcast for our show. We don't have another host for him, so I don't know if you want to do one, or maybe we can talk to P Dad about
something. But
no, if you guys are interested in a baseball podcast, let us know as well, because we basically have every major sport or of the big three except for baseball. We don't have a hockey one. Of course, we know people that could probably do that if we wanted, but
hockey puck. Yeah, good.
Again, I don't know anything about baseball, don't know anything about hockey, so I just know that they both are going on when the NBA playoffs are going on, so I don't really care.
That is sounds about right for coming from you. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's all we got for this episode.
I wish I could hop on the 360, but it's Lent.
Pray for Brock during these hard times. He can't play the Xbox 360. But yeah, that is all we got for this episode of 5 on 5 Sports Podcast. We'll see you guys next time. Max Olsan, Brock Beirman. Peace.